A very common problem with these telescopic fishing rods is losing the rear cap. So we always have the joints coming loose, which makes it uncomfortable. So here we are, guys, fishing. This problem can be easily solved using a regular plastic bottle. All we need to do is cut the neck of the bottle before it expands. The narrower your bottle is at the neck, the better it will work. Now we need to put this neck on right here on the rod. You can secure it in two ways. The first method is a gas burner, but you can quickly and easily overheat it, and the neck will melt. The second method is a construction heat gun. I'll be using it to heat up. If you use a gas torch, be careful. A slight overheating and your bottle melts right away. As you can see, it works great like this. We managed to solve this problem. I hope you'll like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. You can twist the plug, take out the knee in the same way, and do something with them. Some manipulation if you need to, and then twist everything back together just like that. This is how it looks when it's ready.
Previously, there was not as much gear as there is now. And that's why everyone did everything by hand. You could say it's the old-fashioned way. In the last video, Seryoga told you how to make a spinner from a spoon. But in this video, we're going to show you how to make a lure out of coins. For this, we'll need 3 different coins of varying sizes. We made holes in the coins. Each of the coins has 2 holes. We'll need a treble hook and 3 rings. So, the first thing we do is thread the split ring. In the same way, we thread the last ring. So, we have all our coins gathered. All that's left is to thread the treble hook.
The advantage of this lure is that you can make it with different weights. So, at any moment you can add a few more coins and it will become larger and heavier. Another advantage is that you can make the color the backlight the coins. It can be either silver or like brass, for example, yes, something like that. So guys, experiment with it and you'll definitely come up with something interesting. If you clean the coins, or just a little like I did, I cleaned them after drilling. You see, you get such a shine. You can polish them completely. And you'll end up with a nice lure like the one we made with diamond. Something along those lines. Let's go there. Friends, I don't know about you, but for me it's like this. I really love fishing, but I absolutely hate cleaning the fish. But specifically for you, I came up with a life hack to help you love cleaning fish. Here's a great DIY fish cleaner that you can make yourself, guys. It's easy and simple, and it will save you money. So to speak, your money and your time. For this ancient DIY project, we need some kind of branch. Ideally, it should be round so that we get a smooth cut. As I told you, besides that, we need a few metal caps. And that's basically it. We might also need a few screws or nails. First, we need to make a hole in our caps using a regular nail. We place it in the center and give it a little tap. Next, we just need to screw on our caps. As you can see, I slightly modified the hole because the plug should be placed like this. If my handle were wider, everything would be fine. So I had to shift the hole to the edge. Here's the fish cleaner we ended up with. It cleans the fish really well, guys.
And now we will show you how to make a float. We've already threaded our float onto the line. All that's left is to thread one more little connector and insert the tip of our float into this connector. We take it and carefully insert it. As you can see, we ended up with this simple design. The tackle looks like this. The float is backwards, so that the float's antenna points towards the tip, the edge, where the hook will be. And on the other side, above the tip of the rod, we have these 2 weights. And near the hook, we place the lightest shot. Our tackle looks like this. You weight the float as usual, and when the fish bites, the float does not go to the bottom, and the hook goes to the side. It will lay it on the water. We're casting to the float. As you can see, it's standing a bit sideways. If we can show it, you'll see the line coming out through the top antenna and going into the water. When the fish bites, the float lays down on the water.
Guys, this kind of float, a flip float, is used for surface fishing when you're fishing for attacks and the weights get in the way. Because with weights, your bait sinks very quickly. And when do you do it? In this way, if you also add a 0.1 liter here or even your bait, it will sink slowly. Rudd, roach, bream, all the fish that take attacks, which ones will actively bite well on this setup? Trust me. And maybe in the next video with Diamond, we'll fish with something like this and show you it in action. This setup will simply pull the float to the side at the moment of the bite, and it will be really visible, even in the wind.
No, that's really cool, right? Look! Good.
I would even call this setup clever because it really is clever. Guys, from the pin, they hold a little bread. A fish swims up and sucks up the bread. And our hooks are just the same. It's very effective. Honestly, for this DIY project, we will need some kind of weight. In this case, I have a 10-gram sinker, like this. And a pin. You can take an ordinary pin. Here it is. It will also be effective. But I found this wonderful huge pin in my arsenal. I don't know what it's from. It looks like some kind of decorative jewelry piece. That's exactly what we're going to use to make this DIY project today. First of all, we tie a small piece of braided line or fishing line to our sinker. This will be our weight, guys. We thread it through here. I'm not tying knots, but rather, guys, using the loop-to-loop method. This holds much stronger. Now we need a piece of thick fishing line. And at one end, we've also made a loop so we don't hook onto our main line. And here we simply take and tie it. And now our task is to take just 2 short leads, like these little ones, and attach them using the loop-to-loop method on both sides. One here, and one on the ring. Right here behind this clip, if anyone didn't understand something, feel free to ask in the comments. I can always give you a hint, look my friends, about what I mean. Here's our tackle, and here's a piece of bread. It's wonderful. We open our pin, open it up, take the bread, and place it right here, this piece that we've already cut, into our pin. It fits in there perfectly and it fits perfectly. It sits there tightly and underwater it will gradually dissolve. It will drop like this and everything will be great. We take our hook, stick it in here once, and then the second hook we stick it in. Just on the other side, the bread, the crumb. And this is what it looks like. We have an excellent tackle that flies far due to this load. And the fish swims up, sucks in our bread, and the hooks get caught just like a pacifier, similar to a float rig. You can just attach a nice big piece of bread like this right away. Very often when fishing with a float rod, we can forget it at home. Bobbin to come to fishing, guys with a bare rod. To be honest, that has happened to me. If not, of course, we have coils here, or there are float rods that simply do not have a real holder. Now I'm going to show you how to make a bobbin right on your rod in just a few seconds using an old-fashioned method. Right here, to make a bobbin, we only need a piece of wire. We bend it like this. Oops. And at this point, we can just bite it off right away. Now we bend it a little bit here like this. And we make the second hook. Using the same principle, we need to make 2 identical hooks. All we need to do is secure the 2 hooks like this, now facing each other, like this. We will attach it to the handle of our rod, of course, using electrical tape so that later you can remove the whole thing. If we don't need it, we wrap this up, we wrap it tightly. Friends, next we simply measure a distance of about 20-30 centimeters and wrap the second loop here just like that. This is the design we came up with. What we do now is take our rig and simply wind it. This is where our bobbin goes, guys, just like that. It should all look this easy and simple to make. This bobbin made by hand right on your rod.
When you go fishing at a body of water, there's quite a bit of grass there, and you use this kind of tackle. It's called a snag-free rig. But it still gets snagged, and you end up pulling a whole bunch of grass with you. Can you imagine that this is a fish? We have a pretty cool DIY project that will help you. For this, we will need a silicone fish with a hook, a multi-tool, and weights. First, we take off the hook. We set it aside. And we cut our fish so that our weights don't interfere with the hook. So we cut our bait. This is what it looks like. So now we take our 2 weights. And we're trying to somehow fit our fish in. One is ready. And the second one is ready. They will fit, of course, but still try to do everything as neatly as possible, so that everything looks nice. Now we need a lighter. As you can see, we've packed everything in there, and we can seal it up without any worries. We take the lighter, heat it up, and seal our weights all the way. You can now see our weights in the middle of the fish. Thus, you and I will not need either cheburashkas or zhegolovkas. They won't be collecting millions. A kilogram of grass, and you'll just calmly be able to move your bait through the thick of the grass.
I know you've always been interested in the topic of homemade floats. Now I'll tell you how you can make this wonderful float out of a regular drinking straw in just a few minutes. To make a float out of a straw, you can choose any straw you like. Bright, yellow, green. Again, I want to make a white float. In my opinion, this one looks the best. We cut it here, where our straw starts to bend, at the base. We cut it. And now our task is to take some foam, any kind, and divide it into little balls. And these balls are simply put into our body. Float. The more foam balls you fit in, the greater the float's carrying capacity will be, guys. It's best, of course, to load it with balls like these from our foam. Now we will also use some paste, and we just need to make something like this on the wire. Here's the ring. We got this little ring, and now our task is simple. Screw it into our foam like this. Like this. And it's good to glue it at a short distance using any adhesive, guys. I don't recommend using waterproof superglue, because if you use superglue, it can dissolve the foam. We glue it here, and our task is to glue all of this together. Here at the top on both sides. We cover the antenna itself on top with a bright pink color. We painted this part of the float pink. And the second part, which will be lower, we will paint with a fluorescent salad, green that glows in the dark. We ended up with this wonderful float in just a few minutes, guys, that you can make yourself. The next simple DIY project will also be made from a plastic bottle. Guys, I hope you like it. And I've caught fish with it multiple times. I've seen this DIY project with people. For the grandpas who make everything by hand and can't afford expensive tackle. And I think this DIY project will be relevant for you. Let's go. And with the leftover part of the bottle, we can make a great feeder. We take something sharp and make 2 holes opposite each other, so that the second one comes out directly opposite it, guys, like this. And we also make 2 holes at the bottom. Now we need to attach some weight to the bottom. I found this old bearing, guys. It will serve as our weight. And now using a tool, we just screw it on. There. We've secured the weight and it's holding there securely. Now we take a regular pen tube and insert it. Right here. Using a lighter, we heat one edge and slightly melt it. On the backside, we do the same operation. Now we thread the main line through the edge. And we tie a swivel to the free end of the line. And at the end, we make a regular loop to connect our tackle to the main line. And we thread the leader onto the swivel. That's it. We've looped the leader onto the swivel. We have created a sliding rig. Here it is, a very sensitive rig. It turned out to be very sensitive, and if you want, you can make 2 more holes. Here, for deaf leashes. That is, here we will see the slightest bite. Since the tackle is a sliding flat one, it turns out. And if we make some more blind leashes along the edges, then we will have the hook set itself. That's it. Our craft is ready. The hook will always be here. The fish will always be able to take it and suck it in. And we just pack the bait in there. And that's it. This hook, being sliding, immediately transmits the bite. You can also make 2 holes for fixed rigs. Very often when we're fishing for pike with floats and we get a bite, we approach it and can't figure it out. Is the pike biting or not? Because it's just a white stripe and the float seems to be standing still. That's why I recommend you take a permanent marker and draw some stripes here. It's really nothing complicated. We just take it and divide the float. Let's divide it in half with our marker. We can make 2 triangles like this and we'll just color the middle of these triangles black. I've completely colored the float. This is what it looks like now. When there's a bite, you'll see how it pulls in. We will see from afar yet. Even as we approach the float, we'll be able to see all of this. You may ask why manufacturers don't do it like this right away, but simply stamp out ready-made white circles. It's much easier for them this way. Can you imagine the sales volume of these circles? It's hundreds of thousands. If people had to manually add designs or something similar, it would cost a lot more. Guys, that's why I'm showing you these DIY projects, where we improve some existing rigs, and some we create from scratch together.
That's right. This is how he dragged in that little carp. Then, I made him dive.
First, we need to use some wire to make a hole here. So in the cork, we made a small through hole. There's this thing called a skewer, a wooden stick. It's a straight stick, and you can use anything you like, guys. We're threading our skewer through the cork like this, and we already have a ready-made float with an adjustable antenna. We can make the antenna short, or we can make it long. Everything, just the way we want it, in any style and color. I have this fluorescent paint. This paint glows in the dark. Now we're going to paint the antenna of our float with this paint. Our little broth. And in the evening, well, during the dark hours, even at night, guys, we'll be able to see our float really well. This is the float we got. As you can see, I painted only the top and the buoy itself. A little guys. The advantage of the float is that it is natural. It suddenly turns into a natural color. It is heavy. It is made easy to see it in any conditions, so that you don't catch pike or crucian carp on the waves. This float, guys, is going to be just awesome. And the best part is that you can adjust it. That is, in terms of loading, the less the loading, the higher, let's say, you raise it, the larger the wave, the higher the antenna. If you have, say, calm weather for an hour, like right now when it's really quiet, you can lift the antenna much higher and fish like this. So, as you can see, it's an adjustable float and it's quite visible, especially at night, especially if you paint it. This is the kind of thing, and the most important thing, the advantage of this float is that you can put on 2, 3, or even 5 glow sticks, and it will still hold its weight. Is there such an expression? Fisherman and hunter, a crane worker. Who agrees with this? Again, write in the comments. Friends, now I'm going to show you how to make a simple closed-type feeder from PVC pipe. It can be made in just a few minutes and costs very little. It's just a few cents. You can find this pipe anywhere. Guys, even anyone probably has this pipe lying around in their garage. Well, we don't need this feeder. In order to feed while fishing with a feeder, the fish should be fed right from the bottom so that it doesn't stir up the feeder at all, and the bait settles right on the bottom. That's why it's completely closed, without holes. Let's go, guys. You can make absolutely any feeder from PVC pipe, whichever you need. You can make it with holes or without, but in this case I will do it without holes, just as I told you. We just take it and cut the length we need for our feeder. Almost everything is ready. We just need to clean up the edges a bit to be continued. After we've made the hole, we take a swivel with a snap. This is what it looks like. Everyone knows it, and we simply thread it through for our feeder, and we end up with the cheapest closed-type feeder. Many of you know that fishing glow sticks are usually sold in either green or blue, but often you want to put glow sticks of different colors on different rods. Red, yellow, blue, orange, white in the end, so that we can immediately tell which rod is getting a bite. Now I'm going to share a simple life hack that lets you turn an ordinary green glow stick into a colored one. An ordinary glow stick green. And straws, guys. Straws come in absolutely different colors. There are bright ones and there are dull ones. There are, guys, green, yellow, red. Let's say we want to make a glow stick yellow so that it can be seen from far away. We cut off the top of the straw. This is what it looks like. Our glow stick fits in there very easily and doesn't fall out. A firefly with a diameter of 4 millimeters fits into the straw and will never simply fall out on its own. It will never fall out of there. If we break it now, it will glow yellow instead of green. We take an ordinary rubber band, cut it, and make a knot in the middle. We tie our glow stick to the knot. We wrap it around once more and make another knot on the other side. So, this is the finished setup we have. Even if we want to thread our glow stick onto such a thick base, with such a thick one, guys. With the front ring, we take our knot, spread it, thread our rubber band through, and then our glow stick fits right in there. Where we need to go? Just like that. And it sits perfectly on the fishing rod. You can replace it just like that, or take it off. Yes. Friends, you and I know that there are fishing rods with reels. With such a reel holder, and there is a fly rod completely without any fastening, we will give it. Sometimes this can be quite inconvenient when fishing. Or you might just lose your reel. You know, we used to often notice this with older fishermen, and it's still the case now, yes. We made the mounts for the fishing rods ourselves, specifically for the fishing line. Now we will show you how to do this. After all, in the past they often fished even with a regular bamboo rod, or a rod made of reeds or hazel. Do you want to go fishing with a bamboo rod? If you want to go fishing with a bamboo rod, friends, write in the comments. We'll definitely show you how to do it. And now we will show you how to make an attachment so that your fishing line is always on your rod. And you won't have to buy any kind of reel and attach it. We will need wire and electrical tape. Guys, now I'm going to show you how to bend that thing that will hold your fishing line. We take our wire. We bend it, we fold it in half. In this spot, we end up with this interesting little loop. You could say that, and here we just take and cut our wire. Here's what we ended up with. We have two of these flat pieces now. Now we take them and bend them. We bend them like this, leaving about 5 centimeters from here. After some simple manipulations with the pliers, we ended up with these two hooks. Now, with the help of blue electrical tape, because in the past, everyone used it, not just electrical tape. It's like saying, let's screw ours on. Hooks. Now we step back about 25 centimeters. In this way, we make sure our fishing line is here and we attach the second hook. Now, with the help of these wheels, we can wind our fishing line from our fishing rod. Here, here, and here it will be stored with us guys constantly together with ours. A simple reel, like this, can be made for any bamboo fishing rod, or a wooden one for a homemade one. And this kind of winder has always helped fishermen while fishing.